local food supply due to if a disaster, either natural or man-made. It would be nice to have a little food close by.
You know, Bill, in perusing some of these things that I look at, I came across, and you verified it, a Conservation on Muck Soils program. It is Senate Bill 3809, and it was introduced by my old friend, Senator Gillibrand. She was the big backer of the pistol cam. Oh, she's good.
Yes, and this looks to me like it's going to take the place of the 10-year exemption for farmland that some of the people, there's roughly well over 2,000 acres down there under this. They're paying them $300 to $500 an acre.
Now, does this involve the black dirt area, or is that the muck?
Absolutely.
Muck.
And this new bill that you're talking about, Jerry, under the aspects of conservation, under the cover, actually, and I was several terms on Farm Services Committee over the years with a lot of this cover crop, and that's what it concerns. The farmers were paid to put cover crop in. It was a good program. It stops the blowing. It
conserves that's what I was going to say. What does it do?
And the payments were $20 to $40 an acre, and this was set up with the idea that it would get the farmers started, and then they would eventually would be part of their farming program, and it's been very satisfactory. And they're putting this program in to cover crop, $300 to $500 an acre.
What?
Oh, yes, 50.
The old mailbox farmers are like that.
Oh, brother. So this is, it's really, she wants $50 million set aside for the next 2 years, $50 million each year.
Oh, man, I'm going into farming. It beats raising marijuana.
I think my son would set you right up in a hurry, Jerry. Just bring your pocketbook.
Pocketbook. Bring my double barrel.
This is these programs. This is pork in its full regalia.
Wait a minute. This is what bothers me. Here, old Gillibrand is going to give away millions and millions of dollars. We got 300 and some people sitting up in the Valley View nursing home. They don't know if they're going to be there tomorrow, the next day, or what the hell's going on. They're trying to feed them substandard food, from what I'm being told. And she's going to give this kind of money away? My God, she wanted to give $800,000. She wanted to give $5 million to Pistol Cam. What the hell is more important here? Our old people? The infirm? Or Pistol Cam and Muck-Mucks?
I'm waiting for the emergency center at Curious Joel to be established.
That would be good.
Where she wanted to allocate money there. Farmer Bill, I don't even know how farmers function anymore because, years ago, farmers almost had to be bankers, commodity experts, commodity traders. And now, you've got issues like this. I don't understand politicians getting their fingers in every aspect of farming.
Of our life.
Our lives as well. A while back I was reading where in the climate control bill that they have, global warming. It's no longer global warming. It's climate control, where they were going to fine farmers for two things: dust generation, and the other one was
cow flatulence.
Because you were creating methane, and thereby you were destroying. You were creating global warming because the CO2
you want to hear such
methane
cockamamie bull crap in all your life?
It's getting so I shudder every time Congress and Albany is in session. You never know what's coming out, and I've tried to impress upon these. In fact, I wrote a letter to our new assembly person. I don't expect you to know everything about farming, but when the laws come up, for heaven's sake, hook up with somebody that's a farmer that knows what the results will be. If you're going to put in a truck driving regulation, you ought to ride with a truck driver for a week.
Are there any farmers in Albany?
Oh, yeah.
Are there?
Well, there's a few, but not too many. I'll tell you, we're the minority of the minorities, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're shrinking obviously in terms of the number of farmers that are in New York State itself, and they're, I consider farmers kind of small manufacturers, going back to the day. But I mean, energy costs are a big issue with farmers, and then they regulate the price of milk. I don't understand how farmers can stay in business. And,
well, they can't. That's the reason they're leaving, Joe. We, at one time, had 1,500 to 1,800 dairy farms in Orange County, and now we're down to 40.
That's scary.
And losing them every day. I pick up the farm papers and auction sales continually, and this time of year was definitely not to have an auction, but they're having complete dairies being sold out throughout the state.
How many grandchildren you got, Bill?
Oh, I got 6.
How many want to go back to the farm?
Oh, no.
You're getting up at what time in the morning? 4 o'clock in the morning to milk the cows?
Bill, he gets up at 12 o'clock.
Well,
noon.
Phil has a very good bunch of fellas working for him. Of course, they're Mexicans, and they're very good with animals. Sometimes not too hot with equipment, but they're
easy
very good
now.
with
Watch it.
animals.
You're going
He's
to be
pretty well off. But the regulations, I'm sure you fellas don't realize, but he has to have a permit to farm, and we have to hire a consultant.
Well, you should.
You have to hire. What do you mean you have to hire a consultant?
Yes, to tell us where to spread manure. I mean, this is about.
The Johnson family has only been 4 generations. And they're very slow learners.
Well, you got to remember one thing. You've got Albany, and they have a lot of consultants up there that can tell you where to spread manure.
Absolutely.
Well, and this was, the first time around was $15,000. It's not a cheap deal. The old critter that he was an opportunist that walked into it. It's really something.
Well, Bill, I think we have the Mexican embassy on the phone for you. Yes, caller.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm calling about the conservation of mudfills program. I'm the farmer that worked on developing that program and worked with both Congressman Hall and Senator Gillibrand on it. First, want to point out that regarding the mailbox comment, Bill's son Phil, if you go on Environmental Working Group's website, has collected over $600,000 in various farm program payments over the years.
Well, Chris, I didn't exclude anybody. I used an overall term.
Right, that includes Phil, so he can't...
Oh, yeah. He's the biggest one.
Okay, so let's keep that in mind. That program is designed to encourage conservation practices and mitigate the unintended consequence of the CREP program. The damage has been done by that CREP program, and I'm one of the persons that have complained about it over the years. It's caused the land rent rates and the value of the land go up way beyond the cost of what it should be. And we need a program to mitigate those unintended consequences and encourage the conservation practices. It's right what Bill says. So there's been some minor payments to encourage conservation practices. Those practices haven't happened. That's what we need the program. Now, I already do the practices outlined that the COMS program would do, and I don't have to dig my ditches, and I as well as conserve. But my neighbors around me don't do it. And that's why you need a program to do it. And as Congressman Hall, when he spoke about the program, when he got it in the House version of the Farm Bill a few years ago, he pointed out that it's a thrice underserved community. Muck soils, farmers in the Northeast, for vegetable farmers, are thrice underserved when it comes to farm programs. Very few of the traditional farm programs benefit us. And what this program does is it levels the playing field. But when you think of traditional farm programs, very few of them benefit fruit and vegetable farmers, despite the fact that we account for 40% of the retail sales in the farm sector.
So, in other words, the dairy farmers are reaping the harvest here?
Well, most of the farm programs actually go to what's called the program crops, and that's corn, wheat, cotton, rice, and oilseed. That's where the bulk of the programs go to. And then some are going for dairy, and that's where the prices are set. But fruit and vegetable farmers, for the most part, though we account for 40% of the sales, very few programs are geared towards us. What we have are some conservation programs, crop insurance, which is a scam, and if you have a few hours, I can go over that with you, and some disaster.
Is that when they used to have those big disaster coverage and payments when Ben Gilman was our congressperson? Right. And he would give millions of dollars away, and then I don't know, somebody was assigned, I guess, to see which farmer gets how much?
That's what that environmental working group website has. But those programs cover pennies on the dollar on the losses. They do not do anywhere near full value of your losses. Same with the crop insurance. I'll give you an example. I participate in the federal subsidized crop insurance program. And part of that is you have the buy-up, where the farmer participates by paying part of the coverage. Now, last year, I had 70-100 coverage. 70% of my crop was covered at 100% the price. I paid a $10,000 premium. The taxpayer paid $20,000. Now, in theory, 70% of my crop is supposed to be covered. Now, I had roughly last year about a 70% loss, but because the way the average is figured, according to crop insurance, I may have had like a 50 or 60% loss, but in reality, about 70% loss. In dollar figures, I lost about $150,000.
Even with your insurance coverage?
What's that?
After your insurance payments.
No. What would you guess my indemnity was? How much do you think my indemnity for the insurance was?
I have no clue.
My indemnity was $6,000. I still
for your total loss?
For my total loss, my indemnity was $6,000.
So in other words, it cost you $10,000 to insure it. You lost money.
I lost $150,000 in crop value, and I still owed $4,000 in the premium.
I'd go grow Christmas trees, I think.
So,
you know, Chris, one of the interesting things that I was interested in, and my co-host a little better grasp than I did, was this program of cutting hay. In other words, the government paid X amount of dollars for farmers to plant a cover crop like hay, and then, but if I understand it correctly, they weren't supposed to sell it or in any way put it on the market to compete with legitimate farmers that grew the hay for a profit. Is that right?
Absolutely right. And that there's no way it should have been sold because it's the land retirement program. And anybody who did it, they committed a crime. Absolutely not.
Because I remember seeing a photo in one of the local newspapers here, and they had like big bale wagons and everything else. And somebody said, "Well, wait a minute. I think that farmer's on the program."
I was quoted when the Times Record did a story in that. I was quoted in that story. I hate that program. My father has a few acres enrollment. It's one of the biggest fights we have on the farm. My father's never sold it. He's followed the rules of that program, but I hate that program. It's the notion of having a land retirement program on muck soils is outrageous. Never should have been enrolled here.
Good for you.
Certainly, never the level of it. And the amount of complaints I've made, both locally and to the state FSA office. I happen to know one of the members in the state committee. The amount, not only because of the amount of acreage enrolled, but how it's been mismanaged. In my opinion, the person who works for the not soil and water, but the NRCS should be fired for the mismanagement of it. And I've made that perfectly clear. And that's the reason why we came up with the Conservation of Muck Soils program, to mitigate the unintended consequences that program has caused that we're going to be dealing with for years. Black dirt used to sell for $1,000 to $2,000 an acre. It's now being sold for $4,000 to $5,000 an acre.
Why not? I'd love to invest out there, buy it, put down the cover hay crop, and then when nobody's looking, cut it, bale it, and sell it.
And that's outrageous. And I said that should never have happened, and that should not happen.
Well, you have obviously you have the ear of Senator Gillibrand. Maybe you could bring this up to her.
I do. I serve on our ag working group. I go down to D.C. 2-3 times a year and work on various ag issues, public policy issues like crop insurance. And I bring up this program, and I do raise it. And that's one reason why I worked on the Conservation of Muck Soils program. Try and look for solutions to various ag problems.
Well,
try and fix the problem.
Chris, I got to go. I really appreciate your call. You've enlightened me a little. And really, I thank you for your call.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bill, you seem blue.
Well, it's those bank fees.
So go purple.
Purple?
With Provident Bank,